Let's talk some self-published, and specifically, let's talk about a dragon that wants to take over the world. Hello, and welcome to the Ponderings of Pete. I am Pete. I talk about fantasy, I talk about sci-fi, I talk about some random other stuff sometimes. Mostly just books, though. Today, we are going to be talking about a self-published book that comes out really soon on March 2nd, and that is Gurzil by Anonymous. He reached out to me, and I was like, sure, this sounds interesting, let's go. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. If you want to subscribe, if you want to support the author, which is the most important thing here, there will be links down below to pre-order this book, which again comes out March 2nd. So, this will be a non-spoiler review, basically just trying to tell you what I thought of the book, which is what a review is. I don't know why I'm saying that, but it's fine. So, Gurzil. What is it about? In summary, yes, there is a dragon that wants to take over the world. This takes place in our world after the fall of Rome, a while after the fall of Rome. I don't know the exact timeline, but the Byzantine Empire is in full swing, and the Vandals are back and ready for more blood? ? There's a lot of different factions going on in this book. You have the storylines that are happening down in Africa with a dispossessed princess who is working on reclaiming her throne despite her father still sitting on it, who happens to be under the thrall of some unsavory people. We have the Vandals, who are, they've taken over a bit of the north coast of Africa and are trying to rule that. And then we have Sir George, the Dragon Slayer. And among all this, we have the unification of Britain happening with King Arthur. So there's a lot of storylines. This is definitely shaping up to be an epic fantasy. This is the first book of I'm not sure how many, and it's pretty short. It's only about 250 pages, so it's definitely worth a try just because it's short. I think first and foremost, this book feels a lot like a lot of setup for the next few books, and it's set up in an epic way, because the author, Anonymous, really set this up as just this merging of history and mythology. And a few other things just happening, just all combined in a really nice blend for a fantasy, because there is magic. I mean, the dragon himself, Gurzil, is looming all of this as a threatening and evil presence. And as far as I can tell, he wants to take over the world or something along those lines. He wants to be powerful. He's a magic dragon. He's definitely like that malevolent, draconic entity. And he has his own cult, which is so interesting. So there's a lot of interplay with the different politics that are happening. And there's also a lot of background information that is provided. So if you're not entirely sure about the complicated history behind the fall of the Roman Empire, the rise of the Byzantines, and how that all connects to the Vandals in the north of the African coast, well, guess what? You'll sort of understand it by the end of reading this book, because he'll tell you about it. Amidst all this, of course, is King Arthur and, of course, Sir George. We have some other epic characters. Lancelot is mentioned, and Lancelot is mentioned as not being likable for those people that are not fans of Lancelot. There are other people like Galahad's in there, Gawain's in there, Morgana's in there. There's a lot of familiar faces from Arthurian legend in that section of the book. There's also just African mythology. There's mentions of some Arabic mythology with jinn. This is a very ambitious series, considering how much the author is working on, how many plates the author is working on spinning. So I definitely loved the world building in this book. It's really good. The characters, I feel like we didn't get to spend enough time with the characters that we had. It is multi-POV, and it switches around pretty randomly from my perspective, whose POV it is. I feel like it should have been longer. This entire book could have been drawn out longer to allow us to spend a little bit more time and get attached to the characters that we were introduced to. I believe that after how this book is paced, I think the next book will be a little bit better paced in terms of not giving us the backstory of a lot of different characters that are in here. Because the backstory is given for a lot of these characters. It's like you meet them, and then if they get a POV, you're automatically going to hear about their backstory. And there was one or two places where it kind of like broke the flow of a scene in a weird way. I was like, oh, that was an interesting choice. But overall, just like the world building kind of overtook that of just being like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. This story definitely gripped me in a good way, and I am looking forward to the next book. So check it out. March 2nd is when the first book comes out, and then the second book should actually be out later this year in like June or July. So be on the lookout for that. Links are down below, as I said before, if you want to go ahead and pre-order the book or get the book in any way, shape, or form. Check those out. Support your self-published authors. And thank you so much. Y'all have a great day, great night, and get some rest, because it's important.